Hi, I'm Barb from Barb's Wheel of Fortune. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back, subscribers. Hello to any new viewers. I haven't been on in about a month, and part of it because I was traveling, and part of it because I was not inspired. No excuses. It happens. I'm not focused on doing videos every day or on a regular basis, and I don't feel pressure to do that. So I'll come on when I do have something to say. And today's October 2nd, 2022. It would have been my father's 88th birthday. Happy birthday, Dad. I went on a cruise this month on September 10th. Arrived in Quebec City, got on a cruise ship. I had a wonderful cruise for the first 8 days. We stayed in Quebec City for 2 days. We stopped in Chicoutimi. We stopped in Prince Edward Island. We had to skip Sydney, Nova Scotia because the seas were a little rough for the landing. And then we stopped in Halifax. I was able to visit a friend in PEI. I was able to visit a friend in Halifax while I was there. Had a wonderful time. And then the next stop was Bar Harbor. I stopped in Bar Harbor. I had what Bar Harbor is famous for is a lobster roll. It was very good. And then the next day I started feeling sick. Our next stop was Boston, and I called the medic on the ship, the medic's office on the ship, and got tested for COVID. I tested negative the first day, but they said I have to stay in my cabin and wait another 24 hours and get tested again. And I tested again the next day, and I was positive. I was positive for COVID, and so my last 2 days, my tour of Boston was out of the question, and my arrival in New York and my tour, and then going on a plane to get back to Toronto was out of the question. So I had to stay in a hotel for 8 days in New York City under quarantine and sort of kick up my heels and heal. So I did. What can you do? You can't go on a plane with full blown COVID. You just it's frowned upon, and I don't blame the cruise ship or anything. I don't blame anyone. It happens. I was wearing a mask for the first half of the cruise, and then I got comfortable. And most of the people were not wearing masks, and I decided, I won't wear a mask, which, I'm kicking myself for, but I could have still got it anyway, even though I was fully vaccinated with 2 boosters. And I think that's what saved me from getting COVID worse than I did. Anyway, all of September I was seeing 555s. And I was expecting change. Something's going to change. I'm not going to be the same person I was at the end of this cruise when I started my cruise. Now, even if I had not been traveling anywhere and it was just September, I feel like I would not be the same person at the end of September than I was at the beginning of September. And that may well be true. I am still exploring what has changed in me. And now I'm seeing 222s. I'm seeing 222s as October begins. Now, my mother's 90th birthday was on the first full day I was allowed out in New York and to get ready for my flight home. And so for my mother's birthday, I went to the the New York Public Library, and I looked up ancestors, and I just enjoyed that library. That library is fantastic. I had a great aunt living in New York City at the time that that library was being built, it was so cool, the synchronicity of that. So the reason I mentioned numbers and my paying attention to them, my great aunt that lived in New York City was a numerologist, and in the 40s, in the 30s and 40s, she was a numerologist. And so numbers, just seeing the same numbers, the repeating numbers over and over again, I do get the messages. I get the messages that the 555 is about change, significant change, like a turning point. And now the 222s, I feel like it's a balance, it's a decisions and balance. And that's, we're in the month of Libra. Both my parents, my mother that was born on the 28th of September, and my father that was born on the 2nd of October, they were both Libras, and they were both balance. And so, what are the changes in October? I'm hoping it's a more balanced month than September. It's a less dramatic month. And it's a month of going forward. Changes have happened, we've turned a corner, and now we're going forward. I mean, this was the first time that I caught COVID, near the end of this pandemic thing, where people are just more relaxed and casual about it. I mean, when I was in the hotel, almost no one was wearing a mask. I was wearing a mask for sure. I had to. And even then, so, New York is the most crowded place to be isolated in. So, survived that. Let's look at October. I mean, in that time, in the time of my cruise, in the time of September, just after I'd left Halifax, and after I'd seen PEI, they both got hit by Hurricane Fiona, or what was left of Hurricane Fiona, and it was bad enough, believe me. My friend that I'd visited in Halifax, her property lost a lot of trees. My friend that I'd visited in PEI, she didn't have power for 8 days. And, a lot of PEI, some features on the beach, this thing called the teacup, which was this rock formation that was like, kind of like a teacup, and it had completely blown off, completely became just a small pile of rock, completely destroyed. I mean, nature forms and reforms itself. The thing about PEI is it's a lot of sand, so a lot of erosion happened. I mean, I didn't see the parts of Newfoundland that had been affected. Sorry to hear about all that. And my friend in Nova Scotia, she had lost power for 4 or 5 days. I was worried, but I wasn't worried because I knew that she would enjoy the storm, and she would face it with enthusiasm. I mean, yes, there were trees damaged, etc., on her property, but she thrived, and I knew she would, even though I didn't hear from her for a number of days after. I was safely in my New York hotel room when all this was going on, and then Ian was hitting Florida when I was still watching safely from my New York hotel room. And those are the changes in September. Those were the turning points. And now October, I think. Please be a calmer October. What do we get from the Enchanted map? Talisman. Talisman. She's holding what looks like a lantern, an earth lantern. That's how I see it. And she's moving forward, coming from the past. And she's looking forward to the path, the winding path up ahead. There's no straight path, you're not going to get there directly. And she's got, looks like a dragon's head on her sleeve. I'm not quite sure. I'm going to look up number 49 talisman to see what Colette Baron-Reid has to say about it. And a lesson truly learned is crystallized as earned wisdom. You have all you need for the success you seek. Well, I'm sure a lot of people learned a lot of wisdom in September with everything that they were all going through and what I was going through, and I'm sure you were going through some things in September as well. Wisdom allows you to recognize traps on the road and familiar patterns that you want to avoid. It also enables you to quickly gather information about where you are on your journey. It helps you recognize your allies and knows how to find the best routes along the way. Now you're at a place where you know the right things to do and the best choices to make. You really can't commit a mistake. Whatever your inquiry, great fortunes await you, for you have the wisdom to arrive at the right decision. You've learned your lessons and earned the right to your success. Success. Yeah, we've certainly gathered some wisdom, I think, this month. You can tell me about the wisdom that you gathered this month, the lessons you've learned, in the comments if you like. Please feel free to share. I've certainly learned, thank God I got travel insurance. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to go on a cruise again. Well, I certainly learned from lessons from that, and I'm still asking some of the questions as to why I went through all that, why I was isolated in the most populated, well, not the most populated, one of the most populated cities in the world. What did I learn from that? So if you want to share what you learned from your September, I hope it wasn't as stressful as mine or the people that live in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, PEI, and Newfoundland, or the people that live in Florida, Cuba, Dominican Republic. I'm trying to think of all the places that these two particular storms hit this September. Count your blessings. Count your blessings. I counted my blessings. I knew there were people worse off than I was. I was safe in a hotel, and luckily my credit card was able to, cover the cost. And blessings. So, I think that's all I want to say today. We're going to have a better October. We're going to have a more balanced October. I feel it. For me, I see the 222s. I'm not sure. Tell me what numbers you're seeing, what repetitive numbers that you're seeing now, and what you think they mean to you. All right? You take care. Subscribe if you haven't. Ciao.